The Trump administration so far has been an extraordinary whitewater ride, but not in every way a disaster. I think that's the important thing. I think we get tempted into thinking that because he is such an extraordinary operator and performer, and that his press conferences can be shambolic and strange, and that he's so aggressive sometimes online, but also in real life about individuals, that we can fool ourselves into thinking that this is someone who is, to use the word that his critics sometimes use, unhinged. I don't think there is real evidence of that. I think actually the evidence behind the scenes is that to an extraordinary extent, when you think of his background and you think of the question marks about his enthusiasm for the job that there were during the campaign, I think to an extraordinary extent he actually does have real things that he wants to do. I'm not suggesting that he's going to be able to achieve them necessarily. He's got an awful lot of hoops to jump through, and he might not like jumping through some of the hoops, but nonetheless I think this is a real presidency with a real purpose, and it behoves us not to forget that. I think the thing that could prevent Donald Trump making it through a full 4-year term is his own side, his congressional Republicans. And they've got to make a set of decisions. Number one, they anyway are suspicious of him. But number two, if they think that he is going to pull them down, particularly in the midterm elections in 2018, where the whole of the House of Representatives is up for election and a third of the Senate, a lot of Republicans with a lot riding on it. If they think that he is pulling them down, if his presidency is seen to be unsuccessful, if he is seen to be too much of a maverick, then I think they are going to be quite keen behind the scenes to ditch him, and there would then be a real question about whether he had enough support on Capitol Hill to stay if there was a serious case made against him, a legal case, an impeachment case. If, on the other hand, politically, he is successful enough to keep the Republican Party on board, then I think he's relatively safe and he makes it through the first term at any rate. It's an interesting one, this relationship between Donald Trump and Theresa May, because it's a risk, plainly. If something happens to Trump politically, if he is seen to fail, then we have allied ourselves with someone who a lot of Democrats in America will remember that we've allied ourselves with and will resent it for some time to come. If, on the other hand, he manages to get through a first term and is successful in either domestic affairs or international affairs, or perhaps a bit of both, then it's obviously no bad thing to be friendly with the President of the United States. And I think it's a gamble, there's no doubt about it. And the early move to friendship was a gamble. I'm sure there are some in the Foreign Office who would have said it's a gamble that we shouldn't take. But nonetheless, it's a gamble that could pay off real dividends if Trump is successful.